Here we are on the shores of the St. Croix River, just outside of St. Stephen, New Brunswick for International Lumberjack Competition. We have a number of events now in the books. We're heading into the stock saw. Just before the event got started, we had a chance to talk to Roger McPhee.
What are you doing, Roger? Actually, I'm trying to tack these saws so they're very equal, so they all have the same RPM, so it's fair for everybody. RPM on idle end and at full speed at full rep. Now you notice this one here is about 1,000 RPM higher. I'll adjust this one so it's exactly the same.
Right on.
Well, Roger's got the saws tacked in somewhere around 1,300 RPM. We got the Echo CS 600 chainsaws, 12 inches of wood, 2 cuts, 4 inches to work with for each competitor.
That's right. The key to these girls is listening to the RPM of the saw. Make sure they don't lose any of those 13,000 RPM by bogging the saw or making it cut more wood than it's actually capable of cutting.
Well, Kat Spencer's quick to the wood, but she can't seem to handle the saw. She's bouncing it up and down, jockeying in the wood. Kelly Cousins was second to the wood, but look at her on the second cut.
That's right. And the whole key is to keep your saw on the same level all the time so you're not cutting wood that's already been cut.
13.91, a time to beat now by Kelly Cousins, the first heat of the stock saw. Kat Spencer, she's letting the saw she's letting the saw control her as opposed to her controlling the saw.
That's right. It pushes her back. She actually is putting too much weight on it, of course, and it's bogging the saw. She's losing all of her RPMs there when it actually stopped.
Then she looks over her shoulder, see what her competitor's doing. This is against the clock. You got to do the best you can do. Don't even worry about what the competitor's doing beside you.
That's right. Just focus on your block. Don't worry about what's happening around you. Keep focused on the job at hand.
Sherry Dillman versus Janet Walker in the next heat. Heat number 2, a couple of Nova Scotia girls in heat number 2. And we'll see who gets to the wood first. We'll see who drops out of the first cut first.
They're going to go for it because, again, there's only 4 events for the ladies overall. So all of these events are worth 25% of their total points. So they're going to be going for it in the stock saw.
Janet Walker first to the wood. Janet Walker first through the first cut. And Sherry Dillman's trying to play catch up right now, but she's doing a good job.
Cutting really smooth. You can see where that saw didn't lose any. And at the top, see, the wood gets smaller at the top. You can actually put on a little bit more pressure because you're going to saw through that smaller wood at the top a little bit quicker.
And if you look at the sawdust here on the right-hand side for Sherry Dillman, at no point is there less sawdust coming down, which means the saw is being used to the maximum capability all the way through the cut.
Great cut, 13.0. That's a new time to beat.
Yeah, time to beat with only 2 competitors to go. Sue Vino against Kathy Johnson. Now, Sue's a chainsaw expert. She comes to these competitions for the chainsaw events,
That's right. The only reason she's here is for the saw. She likes the axe events, but Susan is a sawyer. She's here for the sawing events. Chainsaw, crosscut sawing, that's her game.
That's why she's in the last heat, because she's one of the ones to beat, taking on Kathy Johnson. And 13.09 is time to beat. Oh, and it looks like Sue hit the switch or something like that. She's trying to yo-yo start. Kathy Johnson well on her way through the first cut. Sue's going to be frustrated with this.
She's really wound up. I think it's the on-off switch. I think she's going to check the gas here, but it's really the on-off switch. If she just flipped that thing back on, the clock's still running.
Kathy Johnson comes in with a 14.12. The clock's still running on Sue Vino, and poor Sue. I mean, we all know she knows how to handle a chainsaw, but look, she clearly hits the switch and knocks the saw off.
That's right, and good for her. She actually comes back, starts the saw, and finishes her cut. Gets a time of 1.03, but that's not going to be in there.
She's going to be frustrated when we finish last in the standings with her 103.47. Tell me about what was going through your thought process.
Well, it's a different saw than what I'm used to using, so I was trying not to put too much pressure on it without bogging it out too much and just trying to do it as fast as I possibly could.
And tell me about listening to the engine and pushing it as hard as it can go.
Yeah, you push it a little bit too hard, it tends to do the bogging out noise, the wah, and you get a much slower time that way.
So that's what the stock saw is all about. Really tight times, only a second and a half separating the top 4 placers. Sherry Dillman taking first place with 13.09 seconds.